Chappelle said, top 5 rappers are Dion. But well experienced. I never said that. Now, again, we can talk about the joke all day, but this is We Are Flatbush. That's a fact. And I gave you my history. That's a fact. So let's talk for real. When they did that, again, now, all the people that he made fun of, he made the quote, or when comedians do these jokes, they say something that you said, and then they bust it and put it in their own way. But this is something that I didn't say at all. So I have no control over this. You said I'm top 5 rappers. You said I spit hot fire. And I'm over here as a kid saying, what are they talking about? Dave Chappelle said, talking about. Not only that, but right after, anytime I send my music to DJs, they say, oh, that's the nigga that David Chappelle made fun of. Now I'm good on that. Not only that, every promoter says, no, we're not booking him. So now I have a newborn, and the fridge is empty. In 2005, I'm empty. No one is calling me. Everyone is laughing. This is legend now. I'm legend now. Now I'm legend. I'm fucked up for what you just did. I'm talking about. Did. And you're not answering the phone. No one is answering the phone. So everybody say, oh, you're busting on, man. You're gone through, man. You're making how? When at that time, no one picking up their phone, not a one label. And at that time, you had to sign to a record label, not one label. And I know all of them, so I'm calling them direct. They're like, I can't help you. That joke gone, Mike. That joke took over. That joke burned your career. The joke actually burned it. At that time, I couldn't do.
All right. I just wanted to hear him say that joke burned it. Now, you want to go first, or?
No, please go right ahead.
There was no food in your fridge because you didn't have a job. You should have gotten a job.
I can't wait for the clips. That was great.
You weren't like, cause let's be serious here, and I'll get to the other things, but let's be serious about that part. Cause to say that you couldn't feed your family because no one would pick up the phone to let you rap. Rappers had jobs, or they hustled, but rappers who are big now had jobs. You know why? Because they had to sustain themselves.
Yep.
So, nigga, when you get on and you talk about how you didn't have food in your fridge because your rap career failed because of Dave Chappelle. He keep calling him David. Is Dave Chappelle's real name even David? I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
I get caught up on the details. I know I do, but it's a question. We can move on from it. Sir, you could have just gotten a job, whether it was a part-time job, full-time job,
A job on the corner.
a job. But that's what I'm saying. Like, to make it seem like Dave Chappelle was the reason you couldn't feed your baby, like, nigga. And that's not all. That's not all. Dion thinks that his career didn't take off. His rap career did not take off because of Dave Chappelle. A joke Dave Chappelle made. Now, this is a different time. I feel like if that had happened today, he would take off because it would be on the internet and it would be shared and it would be this whole thing, and it probably would have benefited him in a big way.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. Social media wasn't quite a thing at that point. So my thought is, I think maybe we had Facebook at that point. My thing is, Dylon, have you not rewatched old episodes of Making the Band? Dylon wasn't the easiest person to work with. In fact, I went back because I said, you know what, let me give factual information before I say what I have to say. A fact is that there is an episode of Making the Band, and this is just one of them, but there is an episode of Making the Band where they worked with Wyclef. Wyclef was producing for them.
That's the episode he made fun of.
Now, when you go back to the actual episode, Wyclef actually has to pull Dylon aside and have a chat with Dylon because Wyclef would say, okay, we got it. That's the take right there. And Dylon would be like, you sure? You think so? And Wyclef pulled him aside and said, well, why are we here
Right.
if you are not going to listen to us? Could it be? I don't know. I'm asking questions. I wasn't there. I didn't talk to the record labels. I have no idea what their thought process was. But could it be that people thought that Dylon was difficult to work with and they didn't want to work with him? Or maybe they just they weren't invested enough in what he had going on? Or, hot take, did Diddy and him end on a good note? Because people get blacklisted in music sometimes. I'm just saying. It could have been a number of things, is my point. I don't think, and this is a strong statement, but I'm going to say it. I don't think that Dave Chappelle is the reason Dylon's career did not take off. And I think specifically the reason Dylon's fridge was empty is because he needed to get up and get a job. I'm done.
All right. I agree that Dave Chappelle is not the reason Dylon's career crashed and burned. I think that's pretty obvious. I think that you hit it on the head. So I'm going to attack another part of the video. Dylon says he's a legend today.
In what way?
Well, let's go to the videotape.
Mm-hmm.
Dylon's YouTube has 1.34 thousand subscribers.
Okay.
The first video that pops up is a song from 8 months ago called That's Why. It has 530 views. The second song is from the same summer playlist called Your Side. It has 296 views. And after that, it's clips of Dave Chappelle and Making the Band that pop up until you go to 9 years ago, where a song called All the Best has 70,000 views. 70,000 views is nice.
That's decent.
But that was 9 years ago. Now let's go to Spotify, because maybe his YouTube just isn't reflective of the legend he is today.
You right?
So let's go to his Spotify. Well, his Spotify says he has 275 monthly listeners.
Okay.
Not exactly legendary. His number one song on Spotify has 4,932 views. It's called We Set the Trends Remix. And the second song has 6,301 streams. It's called Am I Wrong? The next three on his top...
Yes, Dylon, you are.
Right, because the next three songs on his top 5 songs on Spotify each have less than 1,000 streams. Now, I believe the kids will call him Delulu.
Just say the Lulu.
I believe that's what the kids would
Who
call.
are you right now?
I believe that's what the kids would call him.
We need to
Dylon,
unpack that later.
Dylon, 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 and Dylon. I don't know who the fuck told you you're a legend today, but man, I hope he sees this and responds to this and shows us the receipts of something other than what I just read. And let me be clear, we're a teeny tiny podcast. We're not legends, but we're also not claiming to be legends.
Oh.
Yes, I do music. And I'm a nobody. And I say I'm a nobody all the time. But I've got more views than you, player. And I'm only saying this in case he gets mad and responds, because he just might. And I'm still not walking around saying I'm a legend. Because in the words of Socrates, I know that I don't know, therefore I know. And I think there's a lot Dylon doesn't know.
Yep.
I think Dylon doesn't know that Dave Chappelle didn't have shit to do with his career burning. I think Dylon doesn't know the definition of accountability. I think Dylon probably does not know the definition of legend. And if you have a newborn and your fridge is empty, yes, as Dash just said, you should probably sell a brick or get a job. And I hope that your newborn survived and is alive and thriving today, because they'd be much older now than back then.
Of course.
And so I hope that they're alive and well. This is no slight to your child.
No, not at all. No.
Just to be clear here, I hope you did get a job. I hope you did make ends meet, and I hope your child is now an adult doing well, or close to an adult doing well.
Yeah.
But Dylon,
that goes without saying.
Dylon, and Dylon, all five of you, please cut it out. Cut the bullshit. Okay? Stop fucking around. Because this is quite a large pile of shit you are peddling, my friend.
And we just got to make the point that Dave Chappelle was making a point with that skit. Dave Chappelle didn't get that from nowhere. Like,
Right.
yes, he may have been, him and his writers team may have thought of this clever way to portray Dylon, but the portrayal of Dylon was based on his appearance on the actual show
And his behavior on
and
the
his
show.
behavior on
Just
the
like
show.
just like everybody in the skit, he made fun of their behavior, including Diddy.
Including Diddy. Diddy's also made fun of, and his career did not tank because of it.
Right.
And obviously he was in a very different position than Dylon. I'm just saying, the fact that you often came off self-absorbed and controlling and like you knew everything and whatnot is an actual thing that people saw when they watched the show. I have seen every single episode of Making the Band, every iteration of Making the Band, even when it was on ABC and Lou Pearlman was doing it with the white boys. I have literally seen all of them. So
Thanks.
Dylon, we were all there. Well, at least the ones of those of us who were old enough to be there. We were all there, and what are you talking about? Listen, your attitude and your perspective has a lot to do with the way people deal with you or lack thereof. And I'm not saying this is every situation, but sometimes when you are considered one of the misfits and people are not sure on you whether they should take a chance on you or not, it makes it that much harder for you to get people on your side and to get people to buy into what you're selling if you act a certain way.
Right.
So yeah, I'm sure there are some people who are artists or were artists, young artists who, you know, had a bad attitude or did something or whatever or that people didn't like, but because of their talent and because of what someone saw, they took a chance on them anyway. Unfortunately, everybody's not equally yoked. It doesn't happen that way for everyone.
Right.
So to sit here and not take accountability for the fact that the skit came from somewhere, like maybe you didn't say that, but I think the point here was that you implied it. Um, it's just like, okay, well, all right. Because
And not
you
only,
thought,
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you thought that because it happened 20 years ago, we weren't gonna remember how it went.
Right. Not only that, but the footage is on the internet still. And what I was going to say is
Understood,
perhaps it's
but
not just misbehaving. Perhaps it was also work ethic and
okay,
talent. Two of the things that we saw highlighted in that show were work ethic and talent. And that was largely the criticism of that group. That a lot of them were very talented, but did not have the work ethic, which is why Diddy didn't really move forward with them in the same way.
right,
Most of them did not have a large career after. In fact, the only ones who really made music after that for a long time was Ness and Choppa. We didn't hear from Fred, Sarah, or Babs until some of them didn't. We didn't hear from at all. Now Babs has been killing it for years.
right,
She's been doing her thing separately. She's been grinding the battle rap circuit, all type of stuff. She's been making lots of moves. But that was later on.
yeah,
For the years following the show, most of them didn't do anything and didn't have any kind of buzz or anything.
right,
So I don't think it's only misbehavior. I think we also have to factor in talent and work ethic.
yeah, yeah.
So go ahead.
I I agree. I keep trying to remember and I couldn't find it quick enough for us to record, but I keep trying to remember. And and I keep going back to this thought that I'm pretty sure he was the one who used to always disappear when they had to be somewhere or they had to do something. It was either him or Choppa. Pretty sure it was him though, who would just disappear for hours on end and they would be like, "We don't know where Dylon is." And I
Oh,
think
I
that
don't
was
remember.
because Dylon was from Brooklyn. So his people were around. Like he could just go wherever and like he was at home, basically, you know
Got
what
it.
I mean? So but I'm almost positive that Dylon was the one that would go missing. I would have to go back
I
and
don't
find the
remember.
videos,
I can't call it.
but if that's the case, then yeah, like what did you
But
expect?
what we know is he's still missing.
Okay.